What is up, YT? It is Andy Round DT. We back with a new video today. We have the top 10 left fielder cards in MLB The Show 21 Diamond Dynasty. I'm just going to get right into it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think I should change about my list. Alright, and coming down to the number 10 spot, I have the monthly awards from the month of April. Shohei Ohtani, the 89 overall. I think this card just personally for me had to make the list because of just the card in general. I love how he's a pitcher, great hitter, and great fielder. The card is just overall amazing. So looking at the hitting stats, the contacts are honestly where it lacks, but besides that, the power is insane. The only thing I just don't like about it is how small the PCI with him can be, so it can be hard to get the meat of the bat on the ball. But going to fielding stats, I love them. 94 arm strength is absolutely insane. You can just gun guys out from really anywhere down there. And the accuracy is up there as well. Now going down to his last sort of stat, which is speed and stealing. I love the 86 speed. I think that's actually great, and it does help him fly around the bases. But the 48 steal really does suck. You would think just all you need to steal is speed. But when he gets a terrible jump and you just see him trucking down the line and you know he just got thrown out, it's like the worst feeling. So overall, I think this card definitely had to make the list, but definitely not one of the top choices. And coming in at number 9, I have the 90 overall mini Minosa from the 42 series. Looking at this card, it looks amazing with the platinum hitting stats along with the silver fielding. That just shows that it's a great all-around card. But when we take a look into the hitting, as you can see, the contact is at about 192, so overall amazing contact, but the power is just not there at all. And the rest of the hitting stats are very good too, but those don't actually really help you with contact and hitting the ball. And for the fielding stats, I'm honestly really shocked that it's a silver, considering he has 83 fielding, which is good, but besides that, his stats really aren't all there. But I guess if you do have an 80, you probably should not be bronze. And onto his speed, I think his speed is great at 82 because his bunt is at 81, which helps him a lot. You can maybe throw it on a bunt, get some easy base hits like that. I'm not sure how the defense does play him. But his steal only being at a 66 hurts, but I do think you could definitely get some steals with him. The final thing I do want to say about the card is it is pretty nice that the vision and discipline is pretty high, meaning that you can probably get a bunch of walks with this guy. And then once you get on and you got the speed, you're just going to fly around the base pads. So I had to put this card on here. And coming down to the number 8 spot, we got another great Yankee, Babe Ruth, one of the greatest power hitters of all time. Now, I might be a little biased on this card because he was the first card I picked out of the 42 pack, but this card just rakes. From the very start that I started using this card, I obviously saw that the contact and power were very high, and hitting with this card is just one of the easiest things that I've ever done on the game, especially with the PCI being as big as it was. I think my average was almost like 400 with this dude. So obviously looking at the card, like I said, the contact and power are both amazing for either side. The rest of the hitting stats are alright, the discipline is very good. Now for the fielding, I don't think it's great. Obviously, it is bronze, but for a bronze fielding card, I think it's good because it has 75 arm strength, which does get the job done. The other stats really aren't that good. And obviously, looking at the speed, it's the Babe. He doesn't have the speed that you want, but he will hit the ball out. He will hit the ball in the park. He'll hit it wherever you want him to. And the final reason I do like this card is looking at his quirks. I love how he has hitting machine and bomber, so he can just get you an easy base hit, or he can just nuke one out of the park, and you never know what's coming with this guy. And coming down to the number 7 spot, I have the White Sox Silver Slugger from last year, Eloy Jimenez. Now, I think this card is actually just almost the same card as the previous Babe Ruth card, but I do think it is a little bit better just because the hitting stats are actually better. Looking at the hitting and fielding, obviously they're both diamond and then bronze, but I do think that this guy's hitting stats are way better. So I think the 7 spot does have to go to him. I will say, I think this card is great. However, the fielding is just absolutely trash. I mean, it's even worse than Babe Ruth's, which is pretty hard to do because this is pretty bad. So I think this card would actually just be better used as like off the bench to get like a pinch hit or something. But that's just me. And coming down to the number 6 spot, I think this is where the list really actually starts. But we have my boy Lou Brock from the St. Louis Cardinals. This card is just honestly an overall beauty. Obviously, the hitting is diamond, the fielding is gold, which is just an insane start. And looking at the hitting stats, I love his contact, but I do hate his power, so he's not really going to drive the ball out anywhere. But he will lay down base hits and doubles. And I think his speed goes great with his hitting stats because he's 99 speed, 99 steal. All you need to do with this guy is get a base hit, and you could honestly end up all the way at third base easily. And obviously, looking at the fielding stats, they're the best we've seen all day yet. They're all in the 75 plus, which is obviously great. And the final thing I do love about this card is the quirks again. He's got, 7 quirks, which is a ton. Hitting machine is great, which gives you a bunch of base hits. Overall, I think this is really where the list starts, and this is the first great card. So coming down to the number 5 spot, the halfway point, we got the great Garrett Anderson. I think this card is just an upgrade to the Lou Brock card because of the hitting. So the contacts basically are the same, and the power is just way better, and the rest of the hitting stats are great. And then when we take a look at the fielding, I think the fielding stats are honestly like the same stats. They're very similar, and he's a silver somehow. I guess he doesn't really have any 80s, but he does have some very solid 70s. And finally, the one thing I do not like about this card is the speed. Obviously, only 53 is really slow, and it's not really going to get you around the bases. But this guy's just going to hit the ball hard. He's going to hit it far. Base running isn't the issue with him. Coming down to the final 4, we got the number 4 card, Ricky Henderson. I was trying to find this card for like 10 minutes, and I didn't realize it was spelled Ricky with an E instead of a Y. Now, looking at the stats, obviously he's our first diamond, so he has diamond hitting and diamond fielding, which I already love about it. However, looking at the hitting stats, his contact is pretty good, but his power is actually very low for what you would think a diamond card would be. But it's still good enough to hit the ball out, I think. And the rest of his hitting stats make up for it a ton. And down to the fielding stats, all absolutely amazing stats. They're almost all above 80, which is great. This card is great hitting, great fielding. It will get the job done for you. And the final deal breaker for me on this card is the running stats, which are just absolutely crazy. This card's got what it has, plus 99 speed and 99 steal and 99 base running aggressive. So you can just run around the base right when you get on. This card is just going to get you on base. It's going to field. It's going to run. It's doing whatever you need it to do. And into the top 3, our number 3 card on the list is going to go to the second highest overall, actually, but Braun. Now, honestly, for this card, I want to start with the fielding where it's bronze, and the stats are all in the mid-60s or just hit 70. Obviously, that is terrible, and it's hard not to look at that, but if you don't look at that and look at the hitting, I mean, it is just absolutely insane. I've never seen a card have over 100 on both contacts and a power. That's insane. This card's just going to rake for you. The speed and steal also go together very well. 71 speed, 83 steal. You can definitely steal with him. You can definitely run with him. He's not too slow. Another reason this guy's at number 3 is his price is actually around 70K, and I just don't think that he's the best card to buy for 70K when you're really going to get no fielding out of it. But I definitely think this card does deserve to make the top 3, especially with the insane offense it has. And coming down to the top 2, number 2 is actually the left fielder that I use, but we got my man Jason Bay. I think this card, obviously besides the number 1 spot, is the best left fielding card in the game. It is the best overall card. You got diamond hitting and gold fielding, which is great. The contact and the power are both absolutely insane, almost over 100 for all of them. The fielding is great, all over 70. Some of them even hit 80 and mid-70s, high 70s. Love it. And looking at the running, I also love that because he's at 74 steal, 64 speed, which ain't great, but it will get you the job done, and you can maybe steal a base here and there. The one thing I also love about this card, for him to be at the number 2 spot instead of the number 3, was actually the price. So if we go down here, he's only about 35,000, and the reason for that being he was a second inning boss, so you could have even picked him up for free, which is what I did. But this card is got to be one of the best values at 35K. And down to the number 1 spot. If you saw anybody else here, I think you're insane. But this is honestly maybe the best card in the game. We have Alfonso Soriano, the 40 for 40 club card. Now this club takes obviously a while to get, but I do think the grind is worth it. And let's go over why it's the best card. I can talk about this card really all day. If we look at the hitting, 100 contact versus lefties, 90 versus righties, absolutely insane. Over 113 power for both hands is absolutely crazy. You can kill the ball with this guy. And down to the fielding, it's the best fielding we've seen all day. All of his stats are in the 90s or very high 80s. This card will lock you down in the outfield. And finally, what more can you ask for? Maybe some running stats, yes. 93 speed, 92 steal. This card is literally going to do whatever you want it to. It is by far the best left fielder card in the game. Might even be arguably the best card in the game. But to get it, you do got to pay the price.